Hey guys, it's Extreme Strategy here, and today we have the forces of Isenguard attacking the great castle of Rohan, known as Helms Deep. This was made possible by 3 players. Leading the Elves, we have Spartan Spaghetti. Leading Isenguard, we have Hadrian Max, who is kind enough to be willing to lead 40 units of troops simultaneously. And leading Rohan, we have Alkerd, with a ton of cavalry that are just going to come sweeping down the hill at the 15-minute mark and just come pouring into the forces of Isengard. Now, this whole battle has a 20-minute timer, so technically speaking, if Isengard is able to take the central capture point, they would technically win. So there is always that as an option. So I will see you when the battle begins. And the battle has commenced, and the troops are beginning to move. Siege towers are beginning to be pushed forwards, filled with the berserkers. Sappers, intent on destroying the wall, are beginning to move forwards as well. And of course, the great battering ram, being pushed by White Hand Stormers, a very, very powerful unit, is beginning to be moved up as well to destroy the gates. And behind the wall lie many Rohirrim soldiers to protect this massive field behind the deepening wall. And there are just soldiers everywhere. And of course, as for the units that are moving up, they will not be allowed to go unpunished, as the archers are now drawing back their bow to release volleys of arrows at the enemy as they begin to come forwards. Arrows are just arcing out from the bows of the elves, coming forwards. And what are they targeting? They are targeting this massive blob. They're shooting the pikes. That is a very good target. That is a very good target indeed. And of course, the sappers, with the capabilities to destroy walls, are moving up as well. And the battering ram is beginning to damage the gatehouse as well. And with one final blow, the doors are busted open, the ram crumbles, and the Uruk-hai now have a path through the front door of Helm's Deep. They're going to turn around, get shot in the back, and they're going to retreat to the rest of the troops. Over here, the deepening wall has crumbled. Many Uruk-hai and elves are dead, and more troops are beginning to come forwards, phasing through the ground. Wow, that is some interesting pathfinding there. And they're going to begin to come out to meet the Uruk-hai inside of battle, as the elves just come charging on out, leaping into the fray to fight the many Uruk-hai. The towers have also docked, and they are dropping down their troops to fight the high elves on the walls, meaning that this engagement is beginning to get more and more ferocious as time goes on. The question is will the Uruk-hai be able to defeat all of the elves on the walls? And of course, after 15 minutes have passed, which we're almost halfway there, all the cav over here are going to become a major problem as well. Also, the White Hand Stormers are just sitting here being shot up by arrows. However, the arrows aren't being very effective, as they do have their shields protecting them from said arrows. Also, Rohirrim soldiers just stand there, prepped to fight if any Uruk-hai try and come through this gate. The archers up on this wall are beginning to fire down into the blob of Uruk-hai that are fighting on the deepening wall. It appears the Uruk-hai are being fairly successful here. I see lots of Uruk-hai up here, but I also see lots of elves as well. And the ones holding the berserkers currently aren't doing anything yet, but we will see if that changes in time. And Isengard is bringing out the pikes to engage inside of this fight for the gap in the wall. Here's that the Sylvan axes are actually doing a very good job, so Isengard is going to need to up their game if they're going to want to take this choke point right here. Also, orc crossbows are being shot full of arrows by some of the archers up on the wall who are not being preoccupied by the Uruk-hai and berserkers just charging into the fight. And there goes some fire arrows coming through. They appear to land a bit short of their target, but Rohan is beginning to light the arrows. And they're also forming a wall of shields and swords behind the gap as well, which will certainly make it more difficult for Isengard to come through, as well as more troops back here. The fire arrows over here just routed some high elves, it looks like, and some archers are actually able to shoot down into this massive blob of Uruk-hai because they are currently not occupied by other Uruk-hai who are trying to kill them. But the berserkers are continuing to come closer and closer, and here comes waves of fire arrows right into the Uruk-hai. Now that's gotta hurt, or should I say burn, and here comes more of them, volley after volley, just lighting up the Uruk-hai. Here comes yet another volley. They are going to make the Uruk-hai pay for ever trying to set foot inside of their homes by just sending off volley after volley of fire arrows. These Uruk-hai are getting melted, quite literally. And now some arrows from the Uruk-hai are being fired at the Rohirrim archers, and they are going to try and get out of range of said arrows. But some of them are just going to continue to rain arrows into the Uruk-hai lines because they are far enough away that they are not concerned about the archers of the Uruk-hai, because they have the height advantage over them. And there's only a little bit more time as well before the Rohirrim Cav come charging on out. However, the Berserkers are putting in an absolute ton of work. I'm seeing a lot of beaten elves over here, but then there are some that are just sitting here. And then of course the Uruk-hai who are getting shot at by fire arrows are certainly beginning to suffer as well. And the Uruk-hai have broken through the main gap, and their pikes are now beginning to be lowered into the shield and sword wall of the men of Rohan, but those pikemen are going to be getting shot full of arrows by the flaming arrows of Rohan. And then more Rohan soldiers are also going to begin to push in to try and stop the Uruk-hai who have come inside of their castle. It also appears that the Uruk-hai are beginning to get prepared for the charge from the Cav, and they also have troops ready to begin to breach the inner keep. Uruk-hai are already fighting the soldiers of Rohan inside of the keep as well, and now the riders of Rohan are going to begin their charge down into the Uruk-hai. However, the Uruk-hai are ready. They have quite a little surprise here with the pikes, the swords, the soldiers. They're going to try and stop this charge. Will they be successful? Who knows? However, it's beginning to look like the Uruk-hai who were able to breach the deepening wall have been defeated. However, there is a little bit of skirmishing still going on. Fighting on the walls is still as intense as ever, and some of the soldiers that have been standing ready to attack the gate are now beginning to move in as well. And here comes the Cav rushing on forwards. The archers were not able to get off any volleys of fire, so the Cav are just going to absolutely annihilate them. However, the Cav certainly does not want to come into those pikes. You do not want to come headfirst into a pike wall, that's for sure. However, they will happily take the engagement with the infantry, but pikes are beginning to get swung around to potentially protect the infantry as well. But the archers are now in absolute shambles, and some of the Cav did get stuck with the pikes, and they are just getting dropped. Uruk-hai have been routed, and the others are beginning to come forwards have now stopped. And it looks like the Rohirrim men who were protecting the entrance haven't taken many casualties. However, some of the archers may be out of ammo. It's only 2 more minutes for Isenguard to try and take over the entirety of Helm's Deep, and it is not looking good for Isenguard. The final skirmishing seems to be ending here. Troops that were being ready to attack the deepening wall's gap are now getting charged by King Theoden. He is beginning to absolutely butcher the White Hand Stormers. And of course, fire arrows are still continuing to come pouring into the Uruk-hai lines. Riders of Rohan right now are absolutely everywhere. However, one batch did get stuck in between a rock and hard place with all these pikes, meaning that this batch of Riders of Rohan is pretty dead. And the fighting over here is still as fierce as ever, with some of the Uruk-hai beginning to run, but others are still holding firm. And the pikemen are dropping their pikes again and beginning to move forwards, trying to kill some of the Riders of Rohan. And yes, they are certainly succeeding in that. 37 seconds. The enemy general is now dead. 20 seconds. Yep, it's starting to look like a victory for Rohan and the Elves, as the Uruk-hai didn't make it even close to the Inner Sanctum, which would have been very hard to take in and of itself. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe. Go check out the Discord server and this mod for Total War Attila. Links to both those in the description below. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.